happened on January 6th. And in my humble opinion, this is entirely because of his political speech. The big story was that Owen Schroyer was facing 120 days in prison, and the prosecution, in their sentencing recommendation, said, look at the things he said before, during, and after. What about what he said? Why does that matter when he's being charged not with inciting a riot or seditious conspiracy? He's being charged with being on restricted grounds. Schroyer's legal team, Schroyer himself, argued 2.5 years of court supervision is more than sufficient penalty for the misdemeanor of being in a restricted place. 2 months in prison? Now that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense until you take a look at where things are going. Proud Boys leader Tarrio says prosecutors pushed him to implicate Donald Trump. It's all political, my friends. And where we are now. Proud Boys leader Tarrio says prosecutors pushed him to implicate Trump. This is a seditious conspiracy. The Washington Post. Ooh, this is going to be fun. Before he went to trial on charges of seditious conspiracy and other counts related to the January 6th Capitol riot, Henry Enrique Tarrio was open to cutting a deal with prosecutors. The leader of the far-right Proud Boys had been through the federal criminal system before for selling stolen medical supplies in Florida and knew that those who pleaded guilty can get much less prison time than those who go to trial. That's how it is with the feds. He talked about the medical supplies thing. I don't remember the exact details. It's immaterial to January 6th. I was looking and seeking what type of plea offer would what the plea offer would look like. Tarrio said in a phone interview with the Post. They didn't want to give me a number, he said, referring to a possible prison sentence. I need a number. To me, the most important thing is when I get home to my family. Instead, Tarrio said the prosecutors asked him what role Donald Trump played in getting the Proud Boys to attack the Capitol. He said the prosecutors, accompanied by FBI agents in the Miami jail where Tarrio was being held at the time, showed him messages he exchanged with a second person, who in turn was connected to a third person who was connected to Trump. You know what that means? Tarrio said he told investigators he didn't know the third person. He refused to name the people who prosecutors said allegedly connected him to Trump. Ultimately, the nearly 5-month trial did not connect the Proud Boys to the then president. Beyond Trump's seeming endorsement of the group in a presidential debate in the fall of 2020, in which he told them to stand back and stand by. The televised comments caused Proud Boys membership to spike. Interesting.
How do you know there's a them and an us when there's only supposed to be an us? When political allies of the regime are above the law, yet the law, air quotes, is tailored to target your political opponents. It's hard evidence. It's the only receipt you need. Here's proof. Yesterday was an occupation up on Capitol Hill, what Democrats will refer to as an insurrection. It's clearly an insurrection. The evidence here has not been doctored. This is video of a bunch of people taking over Capitol Hill. What happened? Is the FBI locking them up? Are they getting, is there wanted posters out? The answer is absolutely nothing's happening at all, not even a little bit, because that's not what they do, the FBI. They don't go after Democrats. They only go after Republicans. Here's the video evidence. Watch it yourself. Folks, can anyone explain to me how that's not an insurrection? Joe, you guys have any ideas? I mean, it's by their definition, they weren't authorized to be there. They stayed when they were told to leave. They were occupying offices on Capitol Hill. I'm a little unsure as to how that's not an insurrection.
They were insurrect, all right.
Did they not? I mean, you got this Enrique Tarrio guy, just got 22 years in prison, wasn't even in D.C. They were actually in D.C., in the Capitol, in an office they weren't supposed to be, screaming about some HIV funding package.
The lie that has been told to you, we knew that they were going to try and roll back out, kind of test the waters, flick the jab, right, with new lockdowns and masks, and they've done it with schools, and they've done it with some big companies. But this whole idea that you give up your liberty in the name of public health, even if it's something that is the equivalent to, that's right, we're only on Rumble, the flu for most young, healthy people. According to the CDC, not that I trust them fully, less than the flu for young children. Look behind you, there's a slippery slope. So the New Mexico governor, I should say Democrat, obviously, Michelle Grisham, do I have to say Lucian Grisham? Just Grisham.
Whatever.
Governor Grisham of New Mexico decided unilaterally to suspend the Second Amendment rights of the citizens of New Mexico. Why? Citing public health emergency.
So effective immediately, no person other than a law enforcement officer or licensed security officer shall possess a firearm, either openly or concealed.
Okay, Ducati Van Helsing. What is with that outfit? By the way, isn't this ironic? Think about it. They say the only people, these are the same people, the same party who wanted to defund the police. And by the way, say that the history of the police is racist. Remember that? We did a whole debunking of this, that you saw it all over MSNBC and CNN, that the formation of the police force in the United States was simply to catch runaway slaves, which is, of course, complete and total horse crap. There were police forces that existed before and after, including in the Old World. Now, there were some police forces in the South who captured slaves because slavery was a horrendous evil, but legal at that time. But there were also police forces, peacekeepers, constables in states where people were free. So these same people say the only folks who will have guns are the police officers who we have told you for the last 40 years are systemically racist and from their inception were designed to capture black people like they were the Lost Boys in Neverland. So here's the governor's order. It bans the carrying of guns on public property in Albuquerque and Bernalillo. That's a county for 30 days. So Albuquerque is a city. Kirky, Captain Kirk, as I call it. You don't have to call it that. 30 days. Licensed firearm dealers now will be inspected monthly. So that's going to be one of those like, what happened to this? What happened to this pen there on your desk? It's like, hey,
Don't do that.
I thought you were inspecting. I am inspecting. I've got an order from the governor. That couldn't possibly be abused. So licensed firearm dealers will be inspected. You won't be allowed to exercise your Second Amendment rights in Albuquerque, which 2 years too late, said the set of Rust's cinematographer. But it's not a tired argument when they admit that the argument is right. Does this governor think that this will stop criminals from carrying guns?
Do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No.
What?
Okay.
What? Fully knowing that she's taken away our right to defend ourselves.
Yes, 100%. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's like, yeah, no, criminals are, gonna criminal.
She's like, yeah, that's not what this is about. Wait, you thought you thought this was about crime?
She ended the interview with the purge will begin in 5 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
5 minutes. The
All right,
purge will begin.
everybody.
Then she got on her Ducati and ring, holding her iron cross.
Every Walter White's
Just
making their way
weird.
back to Albuquerque.
So instead, even though she realizes that this will not stop criminals from carrying guns, she wants to disarm the public, and she wants to compel the public, like you're McGruff the crime dog, to report more crimes.
It's a pretty resounding message to everybody else in that community to report a crime, to tell us what's going on, to aid law enforcement, to do something different.
Knight Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. Welcome back to BitChute. Welcome back to Rumble. Welcome back to Free Speech. Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about the massive erosion of our basic constitutional rights. I gave us a 9-minute opening, basically a compilation of a lot of the stories that have been going on about the massive bifurcation in our judicial system. These are talking points that we conservatives already know about, and quite frankly, the left are in there. The left is in la 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 la. I can't hear you. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. La la la. That is the left right now, and they've kind of shifted their thinking into that mode by thinking that it won't get that bad, you know. It sounds weird and it sounds crazy, but in my personal opinion, I think a lot of these far left people, a lot of the communist cults and whatnot, they are either consciously or subconsciously surrendering their rights, thinking that this deep state that is facilitating all of this is going to have their best interest in mind, that if they just simply go along with it, that the light at the end of the tunnel, there's going to be some sort of leftist utopia. That's where I think they're all collectively trying to migrate toward, left, far left, alt left utopia. That's where their train is headed, baby, kind of like a communist train. I was just watching the documentary The Farm, how they all had this caravan of school buses and they were going they were going to their magical place, and I highly recommend check out the documentary. Quite literally, as the commune grew in size, it became increasingly unsustainable. It is an excellent it's an excellent demonstration of the Dunbar number. It is said that, I'm not going to bore you with those tiers, the Dunbar number, you just have to check it out yourself. But basically, communes really have to be limited to like 100 or maybe no more than 150. Very, very small. The farm, it was just simply massive, toward the end there, and it became completely unsustainable, and they needed an infusion of cash. They needed capitalism to keep going. And this is what our alt-left are deluding themselves with. They think that this time communism can be done right. This will be done the right way this time. And they just don't understand, Just look at the stop oil freaks as they sit there in the middle of the road, glued to the road with all of this petroleum product. When they travel, it's all petroleum. All of it. They're not stupid, okay? They understand that the products that they use every single day in their life, even in their protesting, that it's all petroleum based. They know this. But this is a demonstration of how a cult works. They will rationalize the irrational. So, I did put in our Knight Rider segment there at the end of our compilation. Believe it or not, that is actually aimed directly at the far left that might possibly see this video. Knight Rider, a shadowy flight, shadow government. Because frankly, there's no shortage of sci-fi shows that I could have drawn on. I mean, there's quite literally a compilation I could have made on that. But I did find that the Knight Rider intro, narrated by the legendary Stu Phillips. I mean, the voice is truly incredible. He also voiced Twiggy on Buck Rogers, but it's another story. The narration, basically it talks about, if you know the story, FLAG, Foundation for Law and Government. Tell me the acronym does not just smack with irony. They have the audacity to call themselves the Foundation for Law and Government, okay? And this, in the narration, in the opening narration, we hear Stu Phillips talking about how the purpose of Michael Knight and his supercharged car is to go and to do what? To stop criminals. Criminals, not just ordinary criminals, but criminals that operate in a world above the law. Above the law. I mean, you really got to listen to those, to the narration. It's just rife with hypocrisy. Think about it. I mean, I get it. I get it. Knight Rider, it's a fictional show, primarily targeted toward preteens and, stuff like that. I was a big fan when I was a kid and whatnot. And I get it. You go, you watch, you suspend your disbelief, and you enjoy. But the point is that, do you know how many laws Michael Knight and his Flag Foundation for Law and Government, do you know how many laws they broke? I mean, quite literally, I don't even think you would need a public defender. A paralegal would get every last single person off the hook that they were to be arrested. Stop and think about it. How many times did KIT, Knight Industries 2000, have to perform a warrantless wiretap? I mean, at the end of every episode, we see the cops pull up in their car and the bad guys are marched off in handcuffs, but you never stop to think that later on in court, when they go to bring all this evidence, that's a whole different story. Number one, evidence procured how? Oh, by tapping into either computers or phone lines. Oh, I'm sorry. That entire evidence gets immediately ejected. Do you have a warrant? You don't have a warrant. Oh, and how is it secured? By whom exactly? Oh, some shadowy, a disavowed organization that the government officially disavows even exists. And quite frankly, the chain of custody of this evidence, that in and of itself is a nightmare. Okay? I'm sorry, but just about everybody that Michael Knight would have arrested would walk out the very next day. And you know what? The same thing could be said with the A-Team. Crack commando, if you can find them, if you can hire them, then maybe you can hire the A-Team. Oh, you mean you want to hire a militia that's been convicted in a court of law? I get it. They say that they are innocent, and it is true. Courts do get it wrong. Boy, do they get it wrong. We saw that in our intro. Tario and Alex Jones, Owen. Courts do get it wrong. I get this. But the point that I am making is that these courts have to be the bedrock of our society. If our courts deteriorate, if our laws deteriorate, and oh my sweet loving Lord Jesus, if our Constitution, trying to point to the flag, let me get the flag out here. If our Constitution deteriorates, then that's it. Okay? If we lose America, then that is it. We have to have our constitutional rights. Our governor in New Mexico, Governor Grisham, says, well, public health emergency. Did I say it the last video or the video before that? I said to you guys, the government, if they go down the slippery slope, these small, noble, Merchant of Venice, Bassanio, pleading to the Duke, my lord, do this little wrong, render null and void Shylock's bond. I know it's awful, but do it. We couldn't possibly have Bassanio, this barbarism that's about to take place. It's a pound of flesh, my God. We can't possibly do this, but you see, the Duke understands, if you really want to get down to it, it's probably even bigger than the Duke. You see, it's their economy. And quite frankly, what Shakespeare was talking about was, say what you mean and mean what you say. Watch your damn mouth. Maybe you shouldn't say things if you don't actually mean it, and after the trial, if you remember, he was so enthralled with Balthazar, fair Portia in disguise, that he fawns over Balthazar. Oh, please, take anything, again. He just got out the fire. He just got bailed out, and there he is, shooting off his fat trap. Shooting off his fat trap yet again. And Balthazar, fair Portia in disguise, fine, then give me your wedding ring, Didn't call it a wedding ring, but, give me the ring, Oh, well, no, I couldn't. Oh, you're going to make a beggar out of me. You beg me to ask for something. I ask for something, and then you deny me. Once again, people need to learn to say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's even in the Bible. It says to let your words be yea, yea, and nay, nay. Just speak your minds. The double talk, the forked tongue talk. People are so busy trying to be clever and shifty, and they want to say something now, but they want to be able to say it in a way where they can change what they meant later. See? And yes, if I'm being honest, Donald Trump is a prime suspect of that, but all the politicians do it, every last single one. But yes, to operate in a world of criminals that operate above the law, incredible. I think, what was it, Superman Returns, the 2006 movie, where Lex Luthor, he kidnaps Lois Lane. Lois Lane says, I thought you were in jail. And he says, well, because it's kind of like even the superhero movies are starting to poke fun at the audience for having gone along with so much suspending of disbelief, And he says, well, Superman's really good about busting the bad guys, but he's not so good about the little things, making court appearances. Again, chain of custody. It's, Miranda rights, all these things, he's operating under vigilante code, or maybe at best, I guess you could say citizen arrest. But again, I believe there was an episode, Linda Carter's 1970s Wonder Woman. The henchman said to the crime boss, oh my God, some of our cohorts, we saw Wonder Woman capture them, and we got to get out of here, their hideout. We got to get out of here. She'll make them, tell, where we're at and what we're doing. And the crime boss, he literally said it. This is back in the 70s, mind you. The crime boss said, I'm not concerned about what Wonder Woman drags out of people with her golden lasso. It's hardly admissible in the court of law. Indeed. Indeed. You see, people, we have a constitution, and we can't just simply think that we can walk away from it or suspend portions of it. We have a legislative body. If you want to make changes to the law, then you're going to have to go about it in a legal, lawful way, by the consent of the governed. Okay? And this Governor Grisham, she is not doing that. She's just simply invoking her fantasy pandemic. The pandemic that's so deadly, you never knew you had it, Oh, you mean that pandemic? Oh, okay, Governor Grisham. Whatever you say. Or that the using that as a template, should I say, because she's saying that it's the gun is a public health emergency. I was sitting here thinking, because Tim, he also did a whole map on which states have the constitutional carry and all that stuff. And what I couldn't help thinking is that it's no secret in the conservative community that the deeper blue the state is, meaning its political color, the worse the crime, the worse the gun violence. So as they literally strangle people's constitutional rights, like here in New Jersey, where it's, I don't know, a gun, completely infringing on our Second Amendment rights. Of course, we've all seen the movie Minority Report. Well, what you might do, a lot of people might do things. Hell, cops might go home, find their wife banging whoever, unholster and blow his ass, blow both of them away, and then blow himself away. Trust me, it happens a lot, more than you think. Okay? There is no shortage of cops who have been found dead in their squad car, having blown their own brains out. So we can all sit here and play numbers, because, they'll say, Amir, isn't it true that you've suffered from depression? Yes, it is. And isn't it true that you've had suicidal ideation? Yeah, my quality of life has been severely impacted, and there are times where I wonder if suicide is, if I've come to that part. Because like I've said, it's not a psychotic fit. It is, if you guys remember, from the YouTube channel, I called it sober suicide. When your quality of life deteriorates to, pitiable levels. I'll give you a good example of that. I've got family in town, from Florida. My auntie, she came and paid me a visit here in my house, and I'm sorry if I am sweating, and I am. I'm sorry, people. I gotta turn the damn fan on. I'm sorry if it's loud, but whoo, I'm getting moist. Whoo. What was that nutty professor? Moist. Hercules. But my auntie comes, pays me a visit. And after the visit, it wasn't too long, I noticed during the visit, and I lamented further on it after the visit, that, here was, I hadn't seen my blood family in years, a member of my blood family in just years and years, and here they finally are here. I have nothing to talk to them about other than the fake pandemic, the tyranny that I've been subjected to, the police, the tickets, the persecution. You see what I'm saying? I couldn't even have a wonderful family visit, because every single day I wake up with this government tyranny, live with it, and have to go to bed with it. Is it any secret that my heart is in such bad condition? Okay? And I sit here and I think to myself, it's like, wow, so I have, is this going to be my life for the rest of my life? Just fighting this tyranny, So, the point that I am making there, in case I'm not making it clear, some would say, well, gee, wow, Amir, maybe you shouldn't have a gun for those reasons. No, it's the government who create the tyranny that erodes your quality of life. Why can't we just simply be left alone to live our life? Okay? I am sorry if your newfound religion, your newfound COVID religion, tells you that if other people around you don't convert, that it somehow threatens your existence. I'm sorry that you believe that. Okay, I try to let people believe what they want to believe, but your belief system, it does come to an abrupt halt at my belief system. I don't force my way of life onto you. You don't have anything that's concrete that shows that my not living my life as if I am. Basically, it's what the Nazis told the Jews. Okay, you're filthy. They were talking about that on some of the channels. I think Jimmy Dore was talking about it. Shout out to Jimmy Dore. The Nazis told this to the Jews that just by default, by your very existence, you are filthy, typhus, plague carriers. Okay? And of course, this is a lie. Now, an element of truth was artificially grafted onto the Jewish populations that were in concentration camps. You know, dude, it's no big secret. If you force people to live in a concentration camp and deprive them of the basic needs of life, yes, there's going to be disease. There's going to be dysentery, typhus, and pneumonias, and everything that's going to start spreading around one barrack to the next. Okay? This is to be expected. It's not because they're Jewish. It's because you are infringing on their constitutional rights. You've made their life unlivable. Just like the tyranny of today's excuse me, tyranny of today's government. Hold on, let me beat this chest real quick. Okay, I'm back. Had to beat and clear it up there a little bit. But yeah, you know, it's, and I know the Jews, they balk at, you know, how dare you invoke our precious sacred Holocaust just because people are forcing you to live their way of life. And remember, people tend to think that the Nazis rolled out of bed, full-blown concentration camp, Auschwitz, and crematoriums. You know, that was not day one. It started with propaganda, okay? Like the propaganda we see today. Oh my God, COVID cases are rising and rising. And the point that I was going with the whole Jewish thing is that instead of eliminating the stereotype, well, I guess now the deep state, the Jew oligarchy, they took it and they just simply expanded it to everybody. They took this prejudice and they encapsulated it to everybody, to every last single human on the face of the earth. Therefore, creating an artificial system of, oh, it's not segregation. You're not being treated any differently than anybody else. But what you are doing is that you are insisting that every last single human on the face of the earth adopt the belief that they are filthy, that something is wrong with them, wrong with us. Something's wrong with being a human. And therefore, we have to do some sort of virtue signal attrition, penance. That's what the virtue signal face suffocator does. One of its purposes. You know, it brainwashes the wearer into thinking that they are filthy and that they have to apologize for their existence. This is very Asian. This is very China. That's straight out of the Chinese lexicon. That type of thinking, you know. So that's what's going on. They want you to believe, and of course they've now taken this public health template and they are transplanting it. Everything we said, everything we predicted, it has come true. I sat there and I said that they're going to suddenly the public health, well, I was started off talking about the whole Merchant of Venice, you know, my Lord, this little wrong, yes, these little wrongs, before I forget again, keeping my train of thought, these little wrongs, okay, like the little wrongs that Michael and Kit do, they do their warrantless wiretaps. These are little wrongs that serve a greater good, okay? When you hire the A-team and they procure illegal explosives to to take on some local mob, and you know, but again, it's science fiction, or you know, it's you suspend your disbelief just to enjoy a half hour or an hour worth of entertainment. You know, so these little wrongs, the little wrongs, they become bigger and more numerous, as evidenced by Governor Grisham in New Mexico. Suddenly, she's going to do her little wrong that's going to serve what she would call a greater good. They're going to suspend your constitutional rights. Well, just trust us. Let us go this far, and we promise we won't go any farther. But then again, we might have to go farther. Huh? See? Alright, I think I've made my point here. Alright, I don't want to go too long. But yeah, I did want to chime in. I wanted to talk about the dangerous state of our courts. You know, people are being thrown away in jail. Well, regardless of whatever you may think of the Proud Boys political platform, I really have not looked into the group. I could not tell you. I know that it is alleged that they're white supremacists, even though Enrique Tarrio is Latino and very, very obviously he's not even a light-skinned white. He's not even a white-looking Spanish guy. This dude is clearly a minority. But I have not looked into the group, so, and maybe years and years ago I would have taken corporate media's opinion into consideration, but not anymore. You can't trust a damn thing that these people are saying, so I'm sorry, because it is Enrique Tarrio's constitutional right to be given the presumption of innocence. I will presume him and all of the Proud Boys to be innocent until proven guilty. Bring me something tenable. You know, that's why I played the portion of that thing where they were pressuring Enrique to give them something good on Trump. Yes, I predicted it. Go back 3 or 4 videos. I said it. See, I predict everything. When I start getting it wrong, when I start screwing the pooch and turning up wrong, then and only then will I consider changing my operating system, how I think, how I process information. But right now, I am bowling 300 and batting 1,000. Okay, maybe bowling 290. You know, I don't get everything right. Let's just be real. You know, but you get what I'm saying. I don't trust what corporate media has to say about these organizations, so I have to rely on myself, kind of like my own doctrine. I gotta, hey, oh, that's racist. I gotta rely on myself to be my own doctor. I know they're talking. That's why I have it. You know, I don't think I included it in my latest medical update undercover video. You know, I was talking to my cardiologist about how I am scared to do things that pacemakers. We're talking about pacemakers, and I'm telling him I don't really know if I want to do one, because anything that would tether me to a healthcare system for the rest of my life, you know, at any moment they could bring back their fake pandemic, and you know, so it's sad that it has to be this way. You know, medications that, you know, I was talking to him about the androgel, hormone replacement therapy that I used to be on. They want me to start it again, and I'm like, as good as it feels to be on it, I am hesitant, highly hesitant about starting something and having it abruptly halted. Talk about suicidal depression. Long story, lost job, insurance, lost medication, things did not end well. So, but this time around, I might not be able to get to see my doctor. You know, they might just simply, you know, whenever they want to bring back their fake pandemic, you know, whenever they feel like the public abroad need to be tuned up on their Pavlov animal training, you know, whenever they feel like you know, it's been a while since we cracked down, because we want to continue to exercise this new muscle, this new power that we have, this new so-called pandemic powers. We want to just exit, because we saw it, right? School. I predicted it back in August. I said, I bet you by golly, wow, they're going to do that whole 2-week suffocation thing again, and plow. Plow. That's exactly what happened. And guess what? Oh, the great Karnak, Johnny's coming through me. I'm channeling Johnny. He says, in the fall of 2024, there's going to be more temporary suffocation. Oh, wait, we don't even got to go that far into the future. Oh, the great Karnak's coming back. He says, after Christmas break, New Year's break, they're going to bring kids back at the beginning of 24 with mandatory suffocation. They're going to do it every single time there is a holiday break. They're going to bring your children back and force them to suffocate their face. To crack the whip and make them understand you may have had your lovely family feel-good time, but now you're back with the government. Let's get back to basics. Let's take it from the top. Face mask on. Have we gotten our booster? Let's take it from the top. Crack the COVID whip. Cracking the COVID whip. This is what you can look forward to until you finally start refusing, like our New Mexico protesters. I also predicted that. I'm glad they read my mind. I personally was calling, and I'm still calling, because it's 30 days, right? Okay, 30 days. Oh yeah, DOJ, I want to say this shit real good and clear, okay? I dare you this. This is me throwing down the gauntlet. I'm sure you know where I live. I'm sure you know. I dare you to come and arrest me, because I am freely and openly admitting that I am encouraging people to peacefully put on display their legally owned firearms and tailgate. However, the tailgate without the alcohol. And the reason I say that is because it is a protest. And you don't want to be either buzzed, drunk, or all the way drunk. In case somebody walks up to you and they question you, why are you out here? You definitely don't want the corporate media saying a bunch of drunken heathens are out here with their guns. No. Tailgate, yes. Alcohol, no. You want to have your talking points on point. Be snappy, be pithy with them, be brief with them, let them know exactly what you're there for. And yeah, bring your little grill, hot dogs and hamburgers, and for 30 days, every damn day of that unconstitutional law, edict, not a law, but an edict. Every 30 days, let it be a 30-day ongoing, never-ending until the edict ends. When the edict is over, the tailgate party can be over. I'm sure you guys can get away of the back of the pickups and bring a little cheapo TV, 40-50 inch cheapo TV, and get some kind of like I cast to my television from my cell phone. So, you can use your television as hotspots and things to cast and just simply sit down and talk and hey, how about this? How about a church service? Hey, that just came into my head. I'm serious. I wasn't even, my back. I wasn't even, I guess God is talking to me. How about a church service? Give God some praises. How about that? Because God is the only thing that's going to bring us through this tyranny. He'll be a battle axe in the time of a battle. All right, I think I'm going to close out on that right there. Battle axe in the time of a battle. Hey, thank you, G. Whoa. Do a Holy Ghost dance. Come on now. Hey, I'm here to tell you. Yes, all right, people, that's it. Remember, blood, sweat, tears, and treasure. Every generation will have to pay their due. That's it for now. Total Control, 871.